Now, I don't know why Riot has the need to buff Jarvan every single year the same way. Buff is passive, nerf is passive. Buff is passive, nerf is passive, and carry on. So obviously you're going to see him a lot of Worlds because they buffed his passive. However, the strength of Jarvan was not only in his ability not to use the passive to farm and fist, but also in the power of Eclipse and Sundered Sky. When you buff his passive, you enable him to farm a little bit more. Just for context, it's that current health physical damage is now at 8%. Used to be 7, has been 6, has also been 10, full range. Now, in this new patch, not the Worlds patch, as we see the wards being pinged, which means we'll be seen on Raptors, and we know we will be seen on Raptors. The thing that changes in this particular meta with the new items is that the Eclipse no longer has the same oomph when you first buy it. The Sundered Sky no longer has the same power when it comes to the damage. And you have to remember that these items now, while they make fighters, all of the fighter item changes, give them more HP and make them more durable, they do give them less damage. And that damage is more important for your clears when you are not actually looking to engage too much. And that's what Jarvan can do so well. Yes, he is known historically as an invader, as a ganker, as a contester, but you can very easily, with the passive being at 8%, farm quite effectively and efficiently. But do keep your eyes up for plays always, right? Always keep your eyes up for plays. Now, the Rakan is ditched lane. It's crashed there. We have a neutral mid at this particular stage. We know Nidalee most likely going down. Ward pinged by the Akali, so she saw that. This one is the one that looks most juicy, but as is always with this particular style, and the match history will be linked below, it is very much a focus on farm, control the map. However, how do you then play this more farming style, sequencing style, and end up with 94% KP? That's what confuses people. They don't understand how those two things fuse together. And that's the difference between good junglers and bad junglers. And you can see we were looking around here for this dive. The Ryze had the range advantage. It is Ryze. Darius is a little bit shoved in here. Nice Crumble, looks very pretty. Nidalee's going to do the same thing on the bottom side. We're going to just chill and wait for this wave. We're not going for the Scuttle Crab. You absolutely must head to Virkayu.gg. Not only do I have a free jungle improvement resource, I also have a dedicated program with jungle video courses, jungle coaching classes, a jungle VOD library, special weekly content you'll see nowhere else. All of this available through a premium jungle Discord, which is highly active, a huge community that help each other climb using my jungle program and courses. As we have seen by everybody hitting their peak rank goals in Split 1 and Split 2 of Season 14 as fast as possible. So to climb faster than everybody you know and to jungle diff every game you play, head to Virkayu.gg or click the link in the description below. Could have potentially gone for the Scuttle Crab and then, done this, but such is patience. Bot lane does that. Now we see where she is categorically. We know exactly where she is. The flash has been committed. There's a hook, there's a heal, and we have the Ryze tanking the turret so we can take our time a little bit. And it is the not so good dive effectiveness. But the play is still good, right? Well, this play was not good. The idea is still good. However, I'm definitely more of a cautious turret diver when it comes to Darius's and things like this, Cluds. I'll take the Scuttle Crab, I'll look for it. If it's like, I'm waiting 12 years, I'd rather get back here and control this respawn so I don't lose it to the Nidalee. I prefer to think like that, but it is a play you guys should always look for. Now, when you do commit after your full sequence to looking for ganks and plays, there's a large probability you lose a cap. Straight up, large probability, it's gone. You have to accept this, you carry on with your life. What then can we do to offset this pretty bad beginning? And obviously the Darius gets the one kill there, the Ryze does get the execute, so that is at least some small silver lining. We see here the Rakan go top side, Ryze is going to try to do something about the Darius, and boom, all of a sudden this game's like, oh man, this looks rough. We know the Nidalee's going to come out of base and hit these up. Will then she decide to cut in for this and this kind of pressure in these, or will she keep going and look to make more impact down on the bottom side? At this stage, we don't know. So as a Jarvan, what you do is you just full sequence control your camps. You don't even worry too much about the Scuttle Crab. You see the Rakan here, so you're like, okay, well, I assume this is probably going to be attacked at some particular stage, but we don't know what the Nidalee's game plan is. Because the Nidalee could have easily just said, aha, oh, well, Jarvan isn't here, thanks for the Scuttle, and off she goes again, right? Like that's fine. But we don't know, so we just focus on our own camps here, sequence up. We're going to get level 5 from the Grump here, and now we can go and have a look. Obviously, we'll know Darius is going to be over here at this particular stage. Now we need to look. Oh, Scuttle Crab's available. Okay, so at this stage, then I know that the Nidalee is most likely on the bottom side, okay, which we can see. Echo is going to reach the bottom lane here, the mid lane as well. Most likely this is warded. This guy hits level 6 and is fed. You know, we can just invest this time. Now, Nidalee has a decision. Do I finish my sequence, do this, and do this? Or do I say, well, you know what, we have the lead, the prior, let's contest. You don't know. As Jarvan, you don't know, right? This is where the mind games begin. You see the Rakan mid lane here, then the Nidalee shows up, but here's the thing. We are Jarvan, we got a pickaxe. It's a 2v2. Ryze is 6, Darius is 6. That's a problem. Akali's moving with Rakan. What do you got to do? You got to give it up. You got to give it up. Unless, of course, you can turn it. Let's see. What? Now, we will die. Right? Okay, we do die. Nice turn, though. And then, again, that's where the passive comes in, the auto attack. Very strong. Now, the Ryze is doing some decent work. 1-2-1, though. You know, when I coach this stuff, I always tell you guys, with the Nidalee, yeah, we can do this, but you giving him grubs honestly will give you, my phone dinged, will honestly give you a lot more stuff elsewhere. Like, if he wants to do this, and you can take bot lane's lives, dragons, I mean, it depends if you want dragons. I mean, I prefer grubs, but if I have to give them up, I'll give them up. The point more so is you can have these respawn camps, the third rotation, this up, these up, that up. But if you can contest and get a kill, by all means, do it, right? So it's really about assessing in the moment which is the best decision, A or B, and both can be correct, right? It's just a different philosophy in how you want to snowball this game, get yourself fed, win lanes, and actually just win the game in the end. Now, the Jarvan is compromised. This game is a little bit doomed. We're 2 out of 3 KP, which is fine, 66%, and our farming is obviously matching the Nidalee to a certain degree. Now, she has decided to go top side here. When you have shitty early game, and a Rakan that is apparently absolutely everywhere, all you can do is control your camps, try not to die too much to a Nidalee, Akali, Rakan, invade of your jungle. There's a Rakan again. This guy's just chilling in a bush. Hey, tell me, you guys have seen this before, most likely your last ranked game, when you were just farming your jungle and the enemy support was running around, mid lane had prior, and your bot lane was just chilling in a bush. And then you look at the CS and you're like, oh, well, he's only down 1 CS. Great. Happens. That's where the power of this small sequencing style really comes through quite big. So, finish off our clear on the top side. We see Nidalee. She says, hello. Now we're like, oh my god, really? She gets the blue, and now you're getting a little bit tilted, perhaps. Akali ditches from mid lane, so you know she's rotating. But I'll play it again, don't worry. Nice flash. And we die. However, watch the damage here. Now, this is triple longsword plus pickaxe. Okay, we've got the 8% current physical health damage. Whoops! Ugh, Conquer Stack gets so much damage. And now you can see why Eclipse in the previous patches with Sun and Sky was making Jarvan pretty damn good. He's been good for months, but the buff made him even better. And he didn't really need the buff. I don't know what Balance team think half the time, but no one wants to watch Jarvan at Worlds. No one, literally no one. And the champ was pretty strong anyway, you know. Pros could have picked it up in its previous state. It didn't need to be buffed. But from this, we at least get a couple of assists. It's a good death because everyone rotates. Well, it's as good as death as it could be, I guess. I don't really want a game like this. You know, you're down 3,000 gold here. This is not really the best thing in the world. Now, we lost, of course, our flash and our ult. But now the downtime between our sequences is pretty good, which means the Krugs haven't yet respawned. We get time to invest. Bot lane have let their guards down here a little bit. That's an unfortunate survive from the Rakan. And if there were a moment for you to realize what did the nerfs do to fighters, literally that. Eclipse losing 10 AD literally is the reason why that guy didn't die. That's it, not a reason. That's it. And that's where the damage hurts. Now that would have been a kill, it isn't a kill. Such is life. But the pressure is still good. And most people don't realize, with Jarvan and all kinds of champions, that when the single item spike is changed like this, when the 2 item spike is changed like this, you've got to play or understand things a little bit differently. Alright, you can't just run at enemy people with this broken item and be like, look, I win now, even if you're down an item. No, like you've got to realize that power is gone, and you got to play differently. More about longer duration fights, rotational spells, people that have more HP effectively because you do less damage, and also literally have more HP because they gave a whole bunch of items more HP. So now we're being invaded again by the Rakan and the Nidalee. Again, the Akali has Prior. That champion is absolutely disgusting. Holy moly. The Storm Surge buffs really did a number on most of us, I think, when Akali picks it up. But that's all you can do, is farm your jungle all the way up. We are down in CS now, but again, no stress whatsoever. Do the Grump here. Darius is getting free real estate at the top side. This guy has decided to rotate. You would have noticed that no one finished off the Grubs. That's an interesting decision. You can also basically just forsake them if you don't feel like that's the way to go, especially if you don't anticipate the game having any sort of meaningful push or macro later on, but it seems kind of dumb to leave them down. I mean, in a losing game, I would try to get them, but in this particular case, as you saw from Jarvan, really, there was nothing we could do. It was really more about Nidalee's team not doing them at all. Now, Ryze is going to shove, but we have 1,200 gold in the pocket. We got 2 people bot lane again. The ult is available for Taric. We're going to lose that Grub. Goodbye, Grub. 2-1. There won't be another spawn now. That's important. No more spawns. And we can reset and once again go to the bottom side. So it might feel like when you look at KDA, it's like, oh, you get 94% KP, 1,200 CS a minute. He's farming. No. We're just looking for pressure. That's it. Now, we do have ult from the Taric here. We know that the Akali is rotating down. There it is. They're going to try and kill before the Taric ult goes through. They are not able to do so. They're able to actually get a kill here. Jarvan cuts up and rotates over. We do have ult available here. We're going to have the EQ Dunkathon. Cancel that R with the press again. Make sure we can move and stick to the Akali. She, of course, will have her spells coming off. That E does hit. Nidalee rotates down. Gets a kill on the Taric. Also gets a kill on Ezreal. Jarvan's now probably pretty sad. And now they're tanking a turret shot here. We have W coming up. Squeaks of joy. That was very interesting by the enemy team to dive the Jarvan there. I don't think that was meant to occur, but there you go. Here's the thing about turret dives in those situations. Previous patches, you have enough damage. Of course, in the Storm Surge, you have, enough damage, and Jarvan hasn't really built anything that would have those buffs just yet. The whole thing, though, is not right now in this moment, but in general moments when it comes to the mid-game, late-game, people have that extra HP, especially fighters and tanks. They're going to live a lot longer in those scenarios underneath the turrets, and you have to be able to navigate that a little bit better. But, as always, greed causes assassins to die. There's a lot of great assassin players, mechanically. You get fed in lane, you roam well, you do everything good, and you have 6 kills, 0 deaths, and 2 assists, and you're like, yeah. And then you end up 8-4, and you think it's your team. No, it's because you bite off more than you can chew. You turret dive when you don't need to. You overcommit with the damage that you have. You don't realize other people are buying items to actually withstand your damage, and then you have terrible macros. So you overpush, go on the wrong targets. And that's where assassin players really fall off. So let's see how this game develops. So maybe there's something we can learn about what to do or what not to do. Force the Rakan out again. This guy's really been roaming. He's 3-1-2. All right, we're sieging up a little bit here. Echo's going to go for the stun. Nidalee uses the W to avoid the 2.25 second W. We have the Akali rotating to the mid lane. We'll push this Scuttle Crab down. Snack that baby up. Now, we do have ult again. And we do have the Tunneler here. For some particular reason, Rakan is caught up, but we'll go in on that. We have the Taric stun. Nothing goes through here. Use your blockathon. By that, I mean your ability to put your body in the way of the Jin's ult. We're going to dunk on the bottom side here. Great turn. Let your team handle the back line. Darius is going to get that heal, but he will not survive. Stun comes through. Well played by the blue team. Really well played by the blue team. Patient, good target selection. Red team was split up a little bit, and obviously Rakan threw that by dying in the first place anyway. Good. I love it when a roaming support dies. And we will get the Herald here and then be able to go back to base. Or do the blue first if we want to swap over to the bottom side for the dragon, which I think we do. And then we'll get the Sundered Sky built up, and now you're going to see that extra HP. And how can we survive a little bit better as we go for this dragon fight? Well, in this particular case, the Echo is actually only level 9 at 50 minutes. That's atrocious for your mid laner. I mean, that's atrocious for jungling, but for mid laning, not so good. So here, obviously, it looks like we're going to have to give this one up. Don't have the map pressure. Pushed in and behind, down 2 levels to the Darius. This guy's level 10. All you can do here is make sure that your experience level, your goal amount, so that you are as fed as you can be. Now, Rakan is out of position. Nidalee decides to go in. That seems a little overzealous. That's so much damage still. And that's the thing. Oof, we missed the Q, unfortunately, in the backline. We got a Kali dive in the backline as well. Darius rotates for the hook, and the spear does hit max range. Doesn't really matter. Jarvan's like, well, screw my team. I'm going to follow through and kill these people. We obviously have the dunk ready to go. Akali is still backline here. Jhin is trying to survive. Akali flies over the wall. We're going to EQR into a dunk auto attack. Beautifully done. Darius is still there. Nidalee's out of the fight. Kali is dead, fortunately. There's a stun by the Echo. Still got uses, I see. Gets hooked. EQ. And of course, as always, use your W. Auto attack, auto attack, auto attack. It's pretty simple gameplay. Remember the EQ combo with Shojin originally was pretty strong. They nerfed that early game. Obviously, you want to make sure that you understand the 12-second cooldown timer that Jarvan has when you face him. Why would you necessarily... Okay, so I'm gonna be honest with you there. My initial response was, why would you defend that? What I really wanted to say is, why would you go at him fighting it? But I guess, I suppose when you're fed, you tend to get carried away a bit. Anyway, 13 out of 15 KP, 125 CS, huge mobility now already, as you saw there, 8.8 seconds in this one, 4.8 seconds in the Q. So we're pretty mobile at this stage, but I will say I have noticed, even though there's a lot of damage in that fight, as the fight continues, red team overcommit because apparently they don't like winning. Winning sucks, they say, so they chase down and die. TB committed to save the day. Nidalee is dead. Dunk is up again, I think. Boom, there it is. Gotta know your cooldowns and your champions. When you VOD review and things like that, obviously you always have to look at them, but for your champions that you play, it's important to really have a good sense of when things are up and to play around them. Kali backline. EQ does miss this particular stage. We do have the dunk again. There it is. We wait for the grouping. Everybody's trapped inside. Echo's going to try and synergize with the W, which he does, of course. Jhin rotates over the wall there. Jarvan now is low. He has to respace. Another TB is committed. This is like watching the play-ins with 100 Thieves or an Emerald game. I can't tell the difference anymore. It's true, though. I mean, this is ridiculous. Just fighting and fighting for the sake of fighting. And there is an important note about the item changes that you need to understand for why this is occurring. This is occurring because, and I don't think you need to be a rocket scientist to understand this, people live longer. They take longer to be killed, which means fights go on longer, which means respawns happen, even though they were nerfed recently up until the point. At this stage, it should be normalized. This is what happens, right? The best time I can remember for this was the durability patch in Season 12, where they brought that in, we had the same impact. But it made the game so fun for everybody. Assassins could still kill. And yes, you have a little bit less haste now to have good rotations. Well, let's rephrase that. There's less haste, so you have less rotations in a window, but your damage that you do will still be high. It just will require, most likely, a little bit of an extra rotation from your end. A little bit more patience to get that out because you have less haste. Small amounts though, right? Like these are small amounts. I'm not talking about like, you gotta wait like 10 seconds. Fraction of seconds, which is important for an assassin actually, but you're still going to be able to kill ADCs. ADCs also have less movement speed, so as an assassin, you can still do your job. All that really happened is that fighters are no longer assassins themselves, which is good because they shouldn't be. Tanks can definitely tank stuff, which they should be able to do, and I feel like the roles have a more, like this is what this, or not role, but this is what this class does. And I feel like that's a bit more important, because fighters are disruptors. They have high HP, yeah. They do a lot of damage and sustain and have CC sometimes, yeah. Have shields for sure. They can definitely do assassination stuff, but they shouldn't be assassins or replacements for assassins, which they have been for many times over the past couple of years. We're pushing a mid lane here, which is huge because we see everyone sagging down. Wave is pushed up. Might as well force a rotation. It's exactly what you want to do when you're fed. Hey boys, everyone come over, let's fight. You don't actually want to fight. You're just trying to bring them so that you can create an opening for Rise to take the turret, and you're bringing an opening so your team can actually position better for some better macro. They think they've all gone for some particular reason. Jarvan's going to now flank this here. What is our target selection? We have the Terragol going through here. Who do we choose to go on? Oh, well, I don't think it really matters at this particular stage. We're looking for the Jhin. We're looking for the Akali, obviously for the dunk. So we don't need to waste that spell. We will not. There it is. That's what we want. Jhin has just given up on life, I think, as an immobile ADC against a Jarvan. That is typically what happens. EQ will be up again thusly. Do we use it or do we go for the Baron? Akali goes back in. Echo doesn't have ult anymore. Well, Echo's dead. So it's not even an Echo, it's Ryze. Sometimes the skins just confuse me. See, there again, you see that Q does hit, or is close to hitting. Now we got to do another EQ, another auto attack here. See, she would have died before. So what that means is she has more of an opportunity to escape or to maybe kill somebody else. Makes the fights way more interesting, right? Think of it like, I know a lot of you might not have been born at this particular stage, but in 2007, when COD 4 came out, and you had Halo 3 as well, right? I was always a Halo 3 guy, obviously. That was my competitive thing. I was competitive in that one. But Call of Duty came out with much quicker way of playing the game, right? People die quickly. You got high mobility. Halo's still about the full shot, right? Still about the full shot. And so it was more about accuracy over time versus an immediate reaction, although we did have SWAT playlists for that. Whole point is, I much prefer when you have to have sustained excellence in a fight, and that goes even for assassins. You can still one-shot people and destroy people as an Akali, as a Fizz, as everything. But Jarvan, right, now won't be able to just point and click and kill you because he built 3 damage items. He's a fighter. He's going to have more HP, more sustain, and better over time. That's perfect. You got to hit multiple skill shots in order to thrive in League, and that's absolutely fine. That's what Jarvan does. By the way, with 10-3-12, yes, his flag does a lot in fights for amping up those assist values. I'm not going to deny that, right? But most importantly about these fights is he's in them, right? He's actually auto-attacking, hitting Qs, EQs, Ws. He's dunking people. It's not just flag stuff. Now we're a little deep. Again, we've gone for the full tank assistance here with the extra mega shield and heal power on the Spirit Visage. It was a great change many years ago. There it is. Beautiful EQ. Keep auto-attacking. Wait for the dunk moment. There's 3. You zone that entire area of the map. If assassins want to go backline, they got to go, but they're not going to get through the Terror Ult, and they're going to have to dash out, which Akali does do. And now you've separated the whole team. Rakan is dead. Echo is now ulted. And that's a numbers advantage that we can use for a Baron fight. Great pick, great patience, great team fighting. And Ryze, oh, I remember when Bjergsen did that on Ryze many years ago. Faker did it on Ryze many years ago. And pro play, you're like, oh, right? Everyone was like, oh my god, you can ult to the Baron pit, you can ult to the minions. Things that seem obvious, but when they first happened, they were cool. Now, obviously here, Nidalee is alive. Just use your body, burn it down here. You can be the zone tool if you have no smite, obviously. I don't always agree with that unless you 100% have that under control. There is mega heals. See the sustain though from oh boy. Dunk isn't up yet though. See, this is really interesting. So the Jarvan is a fighter without a doubt. Bruiser without a doubt. But we're playing this a lot more like a tank. But we are not a tank. We can still be killed. So you've got this sort of in-between value of what is exactly a tank, an assassin, and a bruiser, but there's a bleed over between all of them. And the items accentuate that. And I like it. That's why I'm talking a lot about it, because it's important to understand what you are in order to actually, well, it's a deeper question, but, you know, to thrive. So, Ryze is not pushing this. We do have Baron. We're going to steal the red buff here. We have Eclipse, Sundered Sky, EQ, beautiful. Make sure we are peeling. Good damage, sit in front. There's a dunk. Flashes out. Ryze does fall. Maybe a little bit overzealous. Let's see if we can escape here. We will have EQ. There it is. But again, like a lot of low HP targets in these fights. A lot of low HP targets, meaning the damage is noticeable when you lose it. Especially this one here, right? But healing down 4,000. You guys can't see it, but the match history will be linked below. 4,443. Huh. Damage blocked by Eclipse. 5,497. Spirit Visage. So the survivability is now off the charts with this itemization, but you cannot one-shot people at the same time, which is great. Okay, sequencing. Top quadrant, waiting for Echo and Ryze to be on the map here. This is why Jarvan is so strong, because you can play like this. You can also go into Sterak's. You can also go into your more damagey focused builds to amplify your damage a little bit more. You can do these things, mobile mortars, whatever you want. But, you know, this is a great way to play if you want to be a little bit more frontline. See, there's Akali in the back line. We EQ back into the fight here to make sure we can disrupt as much as possible. There's an Omega Giga Dunk, which is zoning, shielding, zoning, sustaining, zoning, EQ, multiple spells, letting our backline do what they do best, peeling the assassin as best we can. Beautiful tank, bruiser, fighter play. Your goal is to disrupt CC and have great target selection. See, now we can go backline, which is what a tank would not be doing here. Okay, that's the difference. There's your difference. Able to actually kill the Jhin, EQ over the wall, chase an Italy, let them handle their business here, and damage still good. That shield is massive though, like it's a big shield. Obviously, Spirit Visage really coming through with the W and Eclipse, but here you go. Really beautiful fights. It showcases, again, I made a video, 2019, how to teamfight as an assassin, 2018, how to teamfight as an assassin, as a tank, as a mage, as a fighter. There were very specific ways to play. Definitely crossover in ways, but I feel that that's all come back around now with these changes. And as much as I am not happy with certain champions and things like this, that is a cool thing, right? Because you want that. And I know fighters are used to being assassins for backliners and just building full damage and, you know, never dying from artificial sustain, but this is more it. You want to play like this, you got to build like it. That's the lesson. So, Dragon number 3 secured. Gonna finish this off right here. We obviously have the pickaxe in our pocket. No real reason to go back to base until we have the final item, because again, you going back to base here is pointless. Yes, you get 2.23k gold or whatever it is, but you're not going to finish any notable component that's going to change the nature of this fight. You're level 13. We EQ gap close. Obviously, we have the red buff there. Dunk over the wall. Nidalee can jump through that. But the sustained damage here is nutty. EQ again. E is now on a 5.71 cooldown. That's without Shojin, by the way. It's a lot of haste, though, that we have. A lot of haste. But there you go. See, like, an Ornn couldn't do that, right? I couldn't jump over the wall and lock her down and, like, sure, I can kill the Nidalee if she stands still, but you can't do what Jarvan just did as a full, real tank, you know what I mean? And that's where the big difference comes in. So it takes a lot longer to kill people, but it's all for a good cause. Carlin now backline. Echo ults. Brilliant frontline gameplay. Ryze is just splitting on the top side, by the way. There's a stun by the Taric. EQ chain CC. We get the charm going forward because of the Rakan ultimate. Now we can activate the Taric ultimate, and I don't think there's any way you are stopping this train. Here comes Ryze. You can always bring minions with him if he wants. High CSPM, great sequencing, dominating atomization, great team fighting. This is why Jarvan is going to be picked at Worlds, and this is why Jarvan's one of the best junglers in the game right now. Even though his items had less damage, he just doesn't care.